South Texas. I'm your online host, Adriana Garcia. Here with me today is creator of Devil Inside, Mr. Robinson, and special guest Dante DiPasquale, one of our 9 featured artists. Hello, Dante. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for guys letting me be a part of it.
Awesome.
You're welcome. Thank you. I first want to start off with tell us more about yourself. Like, are you from here, originally born and raised?
No, I was born in Boise, Idaho, and then I moved to San Antonio when I was roughly 2-3 years old, somewhere right around there. But this has been home for me pretty much ever since. So.
Oh, cool. We've been looking at a lot of your work, and I see there's a lot of space things. Besides that, what also inspires a lot of your work?
Besides space and astronomy, I'm deeply fascinated with philosophy dealing in realms of religion, ethics, logic, and so I like to dive into those aspects to kind of add more to my work, to my visual library, and then on top of that, just my love of cinema, my love of cartoons, comics, and stuff like that.
What are some of your favorites?
Some of my favorites, well, for movies, absolutely is Star Wars. That's on the top of my list. That's actually what inspired me to follow my career path of being an artist. And
You have a Star Wars
yes,
here.
and yeah, that was new ground for me. That painting specifically, because I'd never done portraits before,
Okay.
painting portraits, and so that was a kind of a nice experiment for me. And
You learned a lot.
I learned a lot from it, absolutely.
Cool.
And but yeah,
There in another
Right
room
here.
as well.
That's what I was about to
yeah, work in progress, which is still got a little ways to go, but I've kind of hit a creative block, and so I'm giving myself a moment to refuel here for a minute.
We all need that.
Yeah.
No doubt. As an artist, I'm sure you use a lot of music as you're painting.
Mhm.
Tell us, what do you like to listen to? What's your go-to music and like some of your favorite bands,
Yeah.
performers?
Some of my favorite bands to go for, I guess genre specific, I love rock, love metal, anything 80s and up.
Oh yeah.
So I love the hair bands, Motley Crue, Def Leppard, AC/DC, the list goes on, Led Zeppelin. And then the bands that I usually go to, majority of the time, there's a band called Alter Bridge, which is actually a band that started after the band Creed had broken up. And it's 3 of the members from that band plus a singer named Miles Kennedy, who is currently working not only with them but with Slash on his solo stuff.
Oh.
And so they're my go-to band. One of the guitarists from that band, Alter Bridge, formed a solo band called Tremonti. Listen to them all the time. But when it comes to things like space and stuff like that, I like to get into ambient kind of space music. Sometimes I may put even a soundtrack from a sci-fi movie of some kind. Interstellar's a great example. I love that soundtrack. And so that's the one that I usually go to for my space stuff. So
This one here is new. Can you tell us about this?
So this one was done for the show for Devil Inside, and
Thank you very much.
yeah.
Very cool.
Thank you.
So I was when I heard the name of the show and I thought Devil Inside, I had tried to break it down and figure out what that meant to me, and basically just combining my love of space and my love of kind of these spiritual things and stuff like that. The devil being this horned demon that we usually associate with religion and stuff like that, kind of always pops into my and in cinema, and but just ultimately combining the two, which for some reason always seem like polar opposites. The way that I guess society can view things is science is in one category, religion is in another,
Right.
but somehow there's a through line that they all have.
A lot of people don't touch on it.
And they don't. And so I love to find that through line where they connect to show that there aren't really differences, that there's a way that everything's connected. So, and then the hands thrown in here was just my touch of the way that we create things, the way that we love to view things, how we mold and shape our own definitions of what devils or angels or logic or ethics, whatever that may be. The list goes on. So.
Very cool. Very cool. Wow. Are there any things you've learned along as painting when you were painting this one, like as far as like new color schemes, brush strokes, anything like that?
Yeah, when I was doing the hands specifically, I've never done a close-up or a zoomed-in shot of hands or anything like drawing, painting. I've never really done it. Because hands are something that are kind of secondary, that we don't think about too much. And so I really wanted to focus on the hands and get the details going in there, get the wrinkles, get all that, the crevices that are in our own skin. And so for me, trying to use the paint to show form and definition in hands, especially when they can appear so flat at points, was definitely something that I was experimenting with. And then on top of that, just lighting, just practicing my line work, making sure I don't go outside of the lines or anything like that on the black hole there or anything along like that. So
Nice. I love it. Hands are always a hard thing for artists in general.
Yeah,
I still have trouble myself.
I think
you nailed them here.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, they usually say that hands and feet are an artist's worst enemy.
Yes.
So yeah, I can attest to that.
To go along, speaking of the theme of Devil Inside,
Mhm.
are there any paintings you have that have gotten you through some like harder times in life? And if so, like, how do they maybe differentiate from your other pieces?
As far as pieces getting me through a hard time, I'd like to think that maybe a lot of my paintings do that because they kind of distract me from what's going on around me as far as what's going on in the news and the media. And so painting takes me to my own place, my own piece, where I don't really focus on what's going on around me. I just kind of focus on that. And so specifically, there was some paintings that I did this about 6 months ago where we were dealing with all this stuff, especially going through school. You've got tests, you've got all kinds of stuff, and I'm a part of this group out there. And we were scrambling to try and get all these events planned and stuff like that. And so for me, working on that and then coming home and kind of being tired, but I realized, I have all these paintings, kind of just snapped me into this mode of, I've got to get serious and I've got to pick up the pace here. And in fact, a piece that I have, actually a few pieces here, kind of, I didn't think about it intentionally of it meaning that way, but when I thought about what was going on at the time, it almost seemed to kind of connect in a weird way. And so, just like this constant, form of chaos and trying to find the peace and the calm within that was something that I was exploring in my paintings.
Meaning you often find subliminal answers in your paintings.
Right,
yeah.
Yeah, usually, and it's funny, I had a friend who told me that subconsciously you may be consciously aware of what you're painting, but subconsciously you're doing things that you don't even know until someone points it out later on down the line. And you go, oh, wow, I didn't even think about that. But then you start to connect those dots and you go, oh, yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah.
So
I used to get that a lot. People used to say, I see vaginas in your work, so I started painting this in vaginas. So now it's a staple of my work.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for joining our team.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
we'd say you're going to wrap up.
Yes, don't forget Devil Inside, July 22nd, 23rd, Friday and Saturday. Come check out our special guest, Dante. He will be there with his artwork on display. Come check it out. All right, I'm your online host, Adriana Garcia from Devil Inside. Bye.